So I'm going to show you the substitution method. Okay, so some people will find this method harder, but this one, right, will be the most frequently used method in upper set. So if you find this difficult, you try to like this method. Actually, this method is easier. Okay, so maybe you want to check it out. So this substitution method, well, what does that mean? So in this, if you're going to use a substitution method, right, you must have one x or you must have one y. So you need to be able to have one x or you need to be able to have one y, then we can do the substitution. So I think it's easier if I show you through the numerical example. So again, I need to see where are your two equations. So label your two equations. So right now, if your substitution method is in mind, you know that you must get one x or one y. So you observe the algebra. So you observe the algebra, you realize that it's easier to get one x from equation number 2. So from equation number 2, it will be easy to get 1x. So can you see? I reshuffle a bit. 1x is this chunk. So this whole thing, 2 plus y, represent 1x. So this will be my equation 3. So I'm going to do the substitution. I'm going to substitute the x. I'm going to substitute into equation 1. So I'm going to substitute into equation 1. So I'm going to put number 3 into number 1. So what do I mean by putting number 3 into number 1? Meaning the whole x will become 2 plus y. And then you do like set 1 algebra, go and open up. You will find your value for y. Okay, so you replace, when we say substitute, right, that means we replace something. So we replace the expression for x. So x is changed away. So I'm changing away x because x is also 2 plus y. So in another way, right, x has a formula 2 plus y. So I change out the x. So changing out the x is like substitution. I substitute x with an algebra expression. I'm not substituting it with a value. So I substitute x with an algebra expression. So x disappear because I substitute it away. I can find my y. So then how are you going to find your y? Subsequently, this one is also quite easy. But there's a lot of people who are like, I forgot how to find my y. So you put your y into the same formula. You put y equal to -1 into the formula. So you put it into the formula. You will find x. So this is called the substitution method. You substitute away 1x or you substitute away 1y. We don't substitute 2y, 3y, all that. You substitute 1x or 1y. Okay, so follow the instruction. Don't come up with your own fanciful substitution and get yourself all over the place. Okay, so this is the substitution method. It's quite clean if you can find 1x or 1y. Okay, I'm going to erase this part. So make sure you understood it. You can pause the video first before you go to part B. So I'm going to repeat exactly the same thing on part B. But part B looks harder. So again, doesn't matter. Let me label the equation first. So always label the equation. So from the equation, okay, I need to get 1x or 1y. Actually, the numbers look very complicated. Do you realize? The number look very complicated. So it's not exactly so easy. So never mind. If it's not so easy, right? You just choose. Do you prefer X or you to prefer Y? So for me, right, I prefer to shift everything to the other side. I prefer to do it this way. So to me, X is a fraction. So the 1x that I managed to get is a fraction. So I'm going to substitute this X, the fraction that represent X. So after reshuffling, right, you got the fraction that represent X. So I'm going to put it into the second equation. So I'm going to put the fraction into the second equation. So you got to write all these statements so that people know what you are doing. So if you look at the second equation, so how are you going to put in? So this whole fraction is representing X. So I'm going to put it in. So that's where everyone will starts to get confused. How am I going to do this? Okay, so here there's a cancellation. The cancellation will be cancelled in this way. So you still have the brackets. So make sure you keep the bracket, otherwise you will have a sign error. Okay, so there is one trick of getting rid of this denominator. Okay, so if you learn this trick, right, you will find that when you work with fraction, you'll be a lot easier. So notice there is a denominator of 3. So you can choose to multiply 3 on the left side and on the right side. So I'm going to multiply 3 on the left side. I'm going to multiply 3 on the right side. So what do I mean? I multiply by 3. That means this is going to multiply by 3. This fraction is also going to multiply by 3. So take a look. The fraction was like this. I multiply by 3. That will cancel out the denominator. So this also multiply by 3. So the process of multiplying both sides by 3 get rid of the fraction. So no more fraction, okay, but do keep the bracket. So one of the common mistakes, some people will not keep the bracket. 0 times 3 is also 0. So in case you are thinking, why is it still a 0? 0 times 3 is a 0. 0 times 3 is not a 1. So from here, will you be able to find your x? So take a look. So from here, you will find your x as per normal. So can you see? So this is the substitution. So when substitution involves fraction, you've got more chance of careless mistake. So that depends on how good you are in your technical aspect. So some people is full of careless mistake. So after you get your y, please remember, don't stop there. Put it back here. So you put back your y equal to 7 into number 3. So do you need to write all these statements? Yes. So if I make you do homework and you forgot to write all these statements, I'm going to make you redo. because I cannot be guessing what are you doing. So you got to guide the reader. How are you going to solve? So put in the X and then you punch calculator. So when you punch calculator, I think in this case you will have a half. So the final answer will be X equal to half and Y equal to 7. So this is the substitution. When substitution involve, so for substitution, you need to get one X or one Y. So when your one X and one Y contain fraction, your chance of careless mistake is a lot higher. Okay, so, but you have to try. Okay, it can be very, very complex. There's some even more complex simultaneous equation. So your technical aspect has to be very strong. And of course, your skills of checking careless mistake has to be very strong as well. So this is the substitution method.